But you fought basketball players, you fought strikers in the UFC, you fought a 50-year-old, Mike Tyson. Yeah, the money was there, but it wasn't the toughest matches in the world. Why'd you pick those fights? Because you could make money without it being much of a risk.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense.
Going up against a 200-pounder, I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when talking about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. According to him, Gervonta is one of the best fighters of this generation, a dangerous knockout artist with top-level timing, instincts, and power that can end any fight in seconds. While Jake's size and reach can't be ignored, Stephen A. said that pure athletic ability isn't enough when facing a skilled boxer like Tank. He warned that even with Jake's size advantage, stepping into the ring with Davis could turn into a painful lesson in what real boxing looks like.
Knockout on Ryan Garcia in April of 2023. Stephen A., is Tank Davis the most exciting fighter in boxing?
Yes, he is. He absolutely is. I love me some Terrence Crawford. He's spectacular, probably #1 pound for pound on the planet. I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan. Obviously, I'm a David Benavidez fan. But this brother, Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis, the time has come for the world to recognize this is one of the top 5 fighters on the planet. He might be top 3.
Yeah.
You can make a legitimate argument for him being 3, 1, or whatever.
Smith said Gervonta is one of the few fighters born with natural talent, fast reflexes, strong punches, and great instincts that place him among boxing's elite. He admitted Jake's size could help him land a big shot. But if Davis manages distance and timing well, the fight could turn one-sided fast. On his shows, Stephen A. keeps warning Jake that overconfidence might be his biggest weakness. He reminds him that size means nothing when you face a sharp and polished knockout artist like Tank.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over with.
Smith has often said he respects Jake Paul for taking boxing seriously. He admits Jake trains hard with real coaches, builds full fight camps, and acts like a professional. But Stephen A. argues that effort alone isn't enough anymore. He says Jake now needs to fight real boxers, people his own age, size, and skill level. Only then can Jake prove he's moved past YouTube boxing and into the real sport. According to Smith, only a true test against real opponents will earn Jake real respect and show whether he belongs in boxing for real.
Jake Paul is a professional. At some point in time, I don't give a damn if it's a light heavyweight. Beterbiev, Bivol, a super middleweight, Canelo, Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, somebody that actually has a reputation. The time has come for Jake Paul to step into the ring with a cat who actually boxes for a living and give us that fight. I appreciate the fact of him promoting. I appreciate him having the cachet as a former YouTuber turned boxer. I like Jake Paul. I respect Jake Paul. I'm just saying, because I like him and because I respect him, I want to see him in the ring. And I don't want to hear, I know his numbers are better, but then he's going to say, I don't need Canelo. Canelo needs me. Well, wait a minute. It ain't just about popularity, bruh.
But you fought basketball players, you fought strikers in the UFC, you fought a 50-year-old, Mike Tyson. Yeah, the money was there, but it wasn't the toughest matches in the world. Why'd you pick those fights? Because you could make money without it being much of a risk. Well, if you're doing that, how you going to turn around and knock Canelo Alvarez for doing the same? Especially working in a sport that you yourself, Jake Paul, has called corrupt and abusive towards fighters. Now, I understand you're upset, you're a little bit salty about Canelo using you to get a better deal from Riyadh or him turning down a fight with you. But what you're attempting to do and what you have done to some degree, Canelo Alvarez has done. He has fought Triple G. He has fought Mayweather. He has, I mean, even though Charlo's undersized, he was a champion. Terrence Crawford is a champion. By the way, he's not 140, he's not 135, he's 147. And then his last fight, I think, was at 154. And oh, by the way, he would move up a couple of weight classes. Now, I think Canelo needs to be fighting David Benavidez as well. But he did fight and knock out Kovalev at the light heavyweight spot. He did fight and lose to Bivol. He did fight Triple G, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So when Canelo sits up there and says, I fight fighters, he ain't lying. His reputation does speak for itself. So I can't sit up there and flow with you, Jake Paul, on that one.
Smith also compared Jake Paul to Canelo Alvarez, saying even top boxers take fights for money or hype instead of competition. But he challenged Jake directly if he's serious about boxing, not just fame and paydays. He needs to fight someone his own size and age. Smith said Jake keeps picking opponents who are smaller, older, or past their prime. If he wants to prove he's legit, he must face real competition. Only then, according to Smith, will Jake earn credibility, improve his skill, and show real growth instead of just grabbing headlines.
I can't buy the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me to believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please, with sugar on top. I'm interested. But you fought basketball players, you fought strikers in the UFC, you fought a 50-year-old, Mike Tyson. Yeah, the money was there, but it wasn't the toughest matches in the world. Why'd you pick those fights? Because you could make money without it being much of a risk. Well, if you're doing that, how you gonna turn around and knock Canelo Alvarez for doing the same? Especially working in a sport that you yourself, Jake Paul, has called corrupt and abusive towards fighters. Now, I understand you're upset, you're a little bit salty about Canelo using you to get a better deal from Riyadh or him turning down a fight with you, but what you're attempting to do and what you have done to some degree, Canelo Alvarez has done. He has fought Triple G, he has fought Mayweather. He has, even though Charlo's undersized, he was a champion. Terrence Crawford is a champion. By the way, he's not 140, he's not 135, he's 147. And then his last fight, I think, was at 154. And oh, by the way, he would move up a couple of weight classes. Now, I think Canelo needs to be fighting David Benavidez as well. But he did fight and knock out Kovalev at the light heavyweight spot. He did fight and lose to Bivol. He did fight Triple G, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So when Canelo sits up there and says, I fight fighters, he ain't lying. His reputation does speak for itself. So I can't sit up there and flow with you, Jake Paul, on that one.
Jake Paul answered the critics by reminding everyone that he's new to boxing and didn't grow up in the sport. He said, I was on Disney when these guys were already winning UFC belts, showing that others had years of experience before he even started training. Jake said people shouldn't expect him to be a top fighter right away. Still, he believes he's learning quickly, improving fast, and now belongs in the fight game. He insists that he's ready to prove himself in the ring against anyone who doubts him.
You are beating up on dudes who don't box. They're not boxers.
I was on Disney Channel while these guys were winning UFC championships.
Okay.
I was playing with Mickey Mouse while these guys were throwing arm bars and winning UFC championships. Everyone's, analyzing my career, critiquing it, paying attention to it from day one, but you can't tell me who was Mike Tyson's first fight. You can't tell me who Muhammad Ali, who was his 4th fight. No one knows, but everyone's seen all of my fights. I tried to fight Tommy Fury. Yeah, I tried to fight Tommy Fury, and he backed out due to a rib injury. Undefeated, young prospect. He comes from the Fury family. You know, his brother's the heavyweight champion of the world. I tried to fight him, and he got scared.
Stephen A. has also praised Jake Paul for changing the business side of boxing. Even though he questions Jake's opponents, Smith respects how Jake promotes himself. He says Jake is showing fighters they can succeed without depending entirely on promoters. According to Smith, promoters have too much power. They block fights, delay careers, and control opportunities. Jake, by handling his own business, is breaking that system. He brings new attention, money, and fans to boxing. And Smith believes that alone makes Jake's presence valuable to the sport.
I've always been a fan of Jake because I think that what Jake tries to do for the sport of boxing, I think people don't realize the importance of him being able to promote for himself and not being reliant on the promoters who I believe has held the sport hostage. The only critique I've ever given Jake, I just want Jake to fight boxers. Like Nate Diaz, we know his reputation. We know the man can fight. We know in the octagon he could be something special. But we know you breathe on him, he starts bleeding.
It's a fair critique. And you know what? He should fight boxers, but then again, should he? Because I'll tell you why. If you're a human who can rake in $6 to $10 million fighting people that you know you're going to beat, and you want to build a resume and a record that's impressive with a good highlight reel, you got to be strategic about this shit. Jake's 25, 26. He's got so much time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I get where you coming from. All I'm saying is, we don't know your skill set because you haven't been in there with anybody really, really skilled.
Boxing expert Terrence Crawford gave his take too, saying the fight feels unbalanced because of the size difference. He warned that Jake's power could change everything if he lands a clean shot. Crawford said simply, one good punch from Jake could end the fight early. Still, he added that because of the size mismatch, this may feel more like an exhibition than a real competitive boxing match.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. They just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over with.
Respected trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas spoke about Jake Paul's journey and the work behind his success. He said that no matter what critics think, Jake deserves credit for making big fights happen. That takes money, effort, and risk. Atlas admitted that Jake has improved a lot, training for years with top coaches, sparring professionals, and learning how to truly box. While purists mock him, Atlas said people forget the hard work and progress Jake has made. He believes Jake's story proves how much dedication it took for a YouTuber to reach this level in real boxing.
That I gave too much credit to Paul. Why? He's done a hell of a job to put himself in this position. He sold himself. He sold his dream. He took his dream. He took his idea. And he put it out there, and he made it happen. Give him credit for that. And he made it happen. And he took risk along the way. Yeah, he picked his spots. He's in the driver's seat. He gets to pick his spots. He's the one bringing the money. He's the one promoting. Yeah, he's the name. He made himself that, coming from where he came from, with all his followers and the whole thing, and just the uniqueness of what he was doing. But he has learned along the way. He's not a top guy yet. No, I don't know that he ever will be. He didn't have that amateur background and the things that you usually need to be a top guy. But he has improved. He is a work in progress. He is a guy that you got to give him credit that he's respected the sport. He went out there, he's worked hard at it, and he's gotten himself into this position. Having said all of that, this might be a step too far. Now, when I say it, I'm also, I try to be responsible. I've been in this game 50 years, so I know where not to step, where you could twist an ankle, or worse, you could break a leg or fall down.
Many analysts believe the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight could become one of the biggest boxing events ever, even bigger than traditional matchups. Their reasoning is simple. Jake Paul isn't just a boxer. He's an entertainer with global reach. He brings millions of fans from outside boxing, turning the fight into a cultural moment rather than just a sport. His massive following makes the event huge worldwide. Analysts predict it will break pay-per-view records, dominate headlines, and change how boxing connects with mainstream audiences.
Sport of boxing than Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, Canelo's not a bigger global star than Jake Paul because Jake Paul is an entertainer outside the sport of boxing. That's why. So now you have people telling you that Jake Paul and Tank Davis is a circus fight. Okay? It's a commercial circus fight on top of that. Jake Paul fights at cruiserweight and heavyweight. 200 plus pound, 200 minimum. Okay, his last fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., former world champion, the son of a legend, he weighed in at 199 pounds. He fought Iron Mike Tyson at 224 pounds. Okay? Tank Davis fights at 135 pounds. You have the storyline of David and Goliath that's going to push the entertainment part, okay? That's going to get people to draw interest in the fight. Why? Because you have the whole David and Goliath situation going on. So again, that attracts people. Okay? So it's a sideshow. But even the sideshow, yes, it's going to be on Netflix. Yes, it's going to be a big event on Netflix. But guess what? They are fighting at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia.
The fight has also faced strong backlash, with critics calling it a money show instead of a real contest. Commentators say it's another example of boxing selling out for clicks and cash. Many were disappointed when Gervonta Davis chose to skip his rematch with Lamont Roach Jr. for this more profitable fight. Roach, who thought he won their draw, said Davis disrespected the deal they had. But Tank is set to make around $100 million from fighting Jake Paul, far more than a rematch would pay. Critics argue this proves money now matters more than boxing integrity.
Gervonta doesn't want this fight.
You want that rematch next? It's definitely the one I want next.
It's the fight I want next, but it's not the fight that's going to be next. Tank said they ain't going to give it to you. PBC had a contract for Tank Roach. Tank didn't sign it. Roach knew all along fight ain't going to happen. He was only contractually obligated to have the rematch if Roach win. Roach won that fight. Robbed him of the knockdown. It's a draw. Now they're not contractually obligated. So why didn't Tank sign the contract?
Gervonta Davis, and you're being offered 20, 30, 40 million, whatever the number is, and you're getting 7 or 8 to fight Lamont Roach.
Do you remember once upon a time Gervonta Tank Davis had a contract on the table for like 200 million, 300 million, something crazy like that? 6-fight deal, what happened to it? The PBC split with Showtime, now with Amazon. Gervonta doesn't want to fight you. What else is he going to do? Let me tell you the biggest issue. He had nowhere to go.
Experts like Gary Logan and David Adolai said that fame and profit now outweigh legacy and pride in modern boxing. They pointed out that instead of facing Lamont Roach again, Davis took the big money fight with Jake Paul. While they agree it's a smart business move, they believe it shows how boxing is shifting away from tradition. The sport is focusing less on competition and more on creating viral moments and entertainment-driven matchups for maximum profit.
We got Tank getting in the ring with Jake Paul pretty soon. What do you think that, like, what is it?
You know why, it's people, a lot of people mad, a lot of people upset, real hardcore boxing fans. But you know what about boxing? I like, when it's all said and done and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. Yeah. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you. And that's the problem with this sport. It's like, what Jake Paul did, man, it's crazy. But people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.